being a good leader or selecting a good leader, because we have the contrasts here, right? They asked Gideon to be the leader because he had proven himself to care about the people and to be humble enough, at least, not to accept the crown. And he had proven that he cares about everyone. He's at least done something for them. And so they selected him. But Abimelech is imposing himself on them. He's coming and saying, I want this job. Give me this job. I haven't proven that I deserve it at all, but I want you to give it to me. And the people do. And so we need, if we are wanting to be a leader, then we need to do two things. First, we need to see, is this job even needed? Because the job of ruler over the people was not even needed by them, right? And then if the job is needed, are we the best person for that job? Have we proven ourselves to care about others, to be leading them or being the face for a good purpose, or is it for our own selfish desires? And so in assessing whether a leader needs to be at all, we need to look at the situation and say, can these people solve the problems on their own? Do they actually need someone to take charge, right? Or can they get together amongst themselves and make a decision, make a law, determine a good course of action? Do they need anyone to take charge at all? Especially in small circumstances. Say you're, a family trying to decide what to do with an older parent. Do you need the oldest to say, I'm the oldest, I get to make the decisions? Or can you, all because you care about mom or dad, get together and discuss things, and yes, maybe have a few disagreements, but be able to make decisions without a leader? Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. Maybe you do need a leader, but you don't need the oldest to say, I'm the oldest, I get to make all the decisions, because that person is probably just wanting their own way, right? That isn't the best way to handle it. If you do need a leader, then it needs to be someone that steps up and does what's best for everybody, not just what they think is best for mom and dad, but what everybody is thinking. So they can sit there and say, well, it seems like everybody cares about this one thing, and we seem to agree on this, and these are the things that we don't agree on. Maybe we could agree to do this, and would this appease you, and would this appease you? Or, if you have a larger family, most of the brothers and sisters seem to want this, so let's kind of go in that direction, but make appeasement for these other things. Something like that. Someone that facilitates and actually leads, but has no power, right? They have no power to pull the card of, I'm the oldest, I get to make the decisions, I don't care what you have to say. And if they do that, do they cede the power over to them, right? Do you really cede power over to someone whenever they don't have any real power? Why give it to them? We don't want the leader who wants the power. We want, if we have to have a leader, we want the leader that is just facilitating, just leading the group, right? And so if we're that person, then we need to be the kind of person that is not seeking power, not seeking glory, not seeking our own way, but seeking to actually think about the best of everybody and try to make a solution that makes everyone happy. And if we are selecting a leader, then we need to be looking for someone that has proven that they care about everybody, not just themselves, not just about getting their way, not just about having the power, not imposing the power on people, right? These are things that we need to consider if we are wanting to be a leader or if we're choosing a leader. Another thing is, even people that don't want power, when they get a little taste of it, sometimes they take a little bit more, right? The saying about power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It kind of tells you that just getting even a little taste of it kind of makes you corrupt. And so we don't want to give power to anyone that is already seeking it. It's not going to be good. So we want to look for someone that is humble, someone that is collectively minded, someone that is open to listening to others and trying to figure things out best for the whole. This is what we would be looking for, not a dictator, power hungry, glory seeking person, right? That is the first thing. And then obviously we don't want to be those types of people. The second thing is even positions. Like they're selecting a position that has power over them. Why? Why even do that? Is there a need to, even if you allow someone to be a leader, which we all should follow good leaders, that is a good thing. But do we cede our power over them? Because in this passage, whenever Jotham is saying that they've selected a bad leader, he says, you selected this person because he was your brother, because he was your relative. And you thought that he would have your best interest, the town's best interest at heart. And so sometimes we give power to a leader because we agree with them, because we think that they will do good for our interests. And so we allow them to have power because that kind of gives us power too. They're our voice, right? But what happens when they're no longer in that position and then we've given that position power? Well, then maybe our power gets taken away because maybe that person doesn't agree with us, but then we've empowered them to actually have ability in some way to force these actions on us, and then we've ceded our power. And so we need to be very careful about giving power to anyone unless we really trust them, and ceding our power over to a position when it benefits us because we may not like the power that they have later. So these are just things to be thinking about as I'm looking at Abimelech and Gideon and the differences in them and thinking, yeah, he was a horrible leader and that was obvious from the first place. You know, he was not selected. You want someone that everyone is going to automatically because they just seem the best person for the job. They're already kind of doing something that relates to the job and it shows you that they're good at it, right? Someone that is being sought out instead of seeking out the power for himself. And so I'm noticing these things and realizing, yeah, that's why he wasn't a good leader. It was pretty obvious from the beginning. And he also was very willing to do anything that he needed to do to get and retain power because he killed all of his brothers, right? And so we just need to be very careful when we're selecting leaders and when we're empowering people, because the people of Shechem have this curse put upon them now for empowering a horrible guy, and also for giving position power that they never should have. And so these are just things that we should be thinking about.